Welcome to In 5 Minutes. Now we'll discuss two-dimensional arrays in C. In previous topics we have discussed one-dimensional arrays and strings. They are supposed to be array with one dimension, that is only length of the array is considered. In case of two-dimensional array, we assume it's a two-dimensional arrangement of values and the array is formatted in the form of rows and columns, or the elements are stored in the form of rows and columns. Now let's see syntax to define a 2D array. We first mention data type, then we write name of the array, and then we mention number of rows and columns for the array. Basically, number of rows and columns is supposed to be total number of elements in the array. Now take an example to understand this. Here we define integer array A of size 3 by 4. So A is a collection of 3 by 4 elements, or in simple words you can say A is a collection of 3 rows, each having 4 integers. So obviously there will be total 12 number of integers defined. I'll repeat again. A is a collection of 3 rows, each having 4 integers. So there will be total 12 integers defined in computer's memory. Only for accessing the array elements and working with the array elements very easily, we assume them as stored in the form of 2 dimensions, that is rows and columns. Now how will I assume it? Let's see. It is assumed like a 2-dimensional arrangement of numbers. Here this complete thing is an array. That grey box is nothing but representing an array, and the array has 3 rows, namely 0, 1 and 2, and it has 3 and it has 4 columns, 0, 1, 2 and 3. Now obviously it's a totally 12 integers defined, so it will be 12 into 2, there will be 24 bytes of memory arrangement. Now here each element in the array is integer and it is known by its row index and column index. For example, in case of one-dimensional array, we will use only single index to access any element. Here, to access any element in the array, we need to represent it with row index and column index. If, for example, this element will have a name A02. This element will have a name A23, or this element will have a name A21. So every element is known by its row index and column index. First is row, second is column. Now let's see how we can define array and initialize the array to some values. For example, in this case we are defining array with some name, mentioning rows and columns, and then write equal to, and in curly bracket we mention values for each rows. That is, first we mention row 0 values, then row 1 values, then row 2 values, row 3 values, and so on, all in curly brackets, and then two main curly brackets to enclose all the rows. See, for example, here we have defined M array of size 3 by 3, so there are total 9 number of integers defined, or it's a collection of 9 integers, and this is for first row, second row and third row. Each row should be enclosed in curly brackets separated with commas. Okay, so how this array will look like in computer's memory is like this. M is an array of 9 elements having 3 rows and 3 columns. Obviously elements will be known by with their name M00, M01, M02 and so on. Now here in this array the values stored will be like 2, 3 and 5 in the first row, 4 and 10 in the second row. The second row, third element will be undefined. Then in the third row the values are 4, -2 and 12. Now any two-dimensional array we can assume like a one-dimensional array also, like this. So M is like a one-dimensional array having 3 rows. It's 0th row, first row and second row. There are 3 rows over here, we can see, and each row has 3 parts. There is 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2 and 0, 1, 2. The numberings are always starting with 0. So the first row has elements 2, 3, 5, second row has elements 4, 10 and the next is empty, and last row has elements 4, -2 and 12. Now let's see how to refer to this element. It is row number is 0, column number is 2, so it is M02. How to refer to this number? It is row number is 2 and column number is 0, so it is M20. Now to know this number, it has row number 1 and column number 1, so it is M11. So that is how we can access these elements. Now obviously to perform any kind of operations like inputs, outputs, calculations, we can use same syntax anywhere. For example, to input value over here we can write scanf with %d ampersand m in bracket, first a row number that is 1 and its column number is 2. So that is how we can input value into this element. We want to output suppose this value that is m to 2. We can mention printf percentage d m to 2, where 2 is its position, that is row index and column index. Thank you.